this is episode number 7. Wow, we're here already. Episode number 7 of my 8-part series for emotional well-being and mental health. And this series is called Be More Zebra. So why am I all about the zebra? Well, by now, if you've watched all of the other videos, you will know. But if you've just arrived here and you haven't seen any of the other videos, let me just quickly explain what I'm doing wearing these gorgeous zebra jogging bottoms. The zebra jogging bottoms have been kindly gifted to me by Jigsaw, the luxury fashion brand. So thank you very much, Jigsaw, for gifting me these beautiful, gorgeous mixed wool blend jogging bottoms for me to make my Be More Zebra series. So what is it about the zebra? Well, if you think about what a zebra is, it's a horse that doesn't mind standing out. So for me, the zebra print represents your uniqueness, your individuality. It helps you feel like you can be comfortable in your own skin. So that's all about the zebra for me. So let's get into today's video. Today's video is a very, very delicate subject, and it's actually very close to my heart. Grief and loss. Now, I am a grief author. I have written 2 books about grief. The first book is called Good Grief, and it's here, and this was published in 2016. The second book I've written recently is Planet Grief, and it came out in 2021, this year, October. Now, I really want to talk about the different states of mind that I was in personally while I was writing the 2 books. And interestingly enough, yesterday I was guesting on a podcast, and the podcast host asked me a question. The question was very poignant, and it's something that I've been really thinking about overnight. She said, what realizations did you have after writing the first book, and 5 years later, what realizations did you have after writing the second book? Was there a difference? And yes, there was a huge difference. I wrote the first book because I am an only child, and I lost both my parents to cancer, unfortunately, and I nursed them both. And I was there for them when they both died. So for me, that was a pivotal moment in my life, as you can imagine. My dad passed away when I was in my early 20s. And he was basically the driving force of my life. He was my motivator. He was my go-to person. He was my guru, and he was my advisor. And at that age, 23, 24, I felt like I was a grown-up. I wanted to be a grown-up. I wanted to do adulting. But when my compass left my world, that's how it felt. I felt lost. I felt completely isolated. I felt confused. I just felt completely directionless. The bottom of my world had collapsed, and I was collapsing with it. And that's the only reason I decided to write the book, because I didn't know how to process these feelings that I was going through. I hadn't really not thought about the word grief in my life before. I was working in TV. I was working at the BBC at the time in London. My whole existence was all about where's the next party, what am I going to do tonight, that type of thing. What am I going to wear? So for me, this complete overwhelm of emotion knocked me for 6. And the only way I could cope with this overwhelming feeling, these overwhelming feelings, it wasn't just one feeling, it was lots and lots of overwhelming emotions. The only way I could cope with them was to be able to write them down, to write the emotions out of my head and sequentially try to organise them on pieces of paper. That's essentially how good grief came about. And then really, as my mum passed away, as she was also then diagnosed with liver cancer, and I nursed her through that, that was really when the book came out of me. It was almost like when my mum passed away, I became an orphan. That's how it felt. And I had to give birth to my own inner parent. And because I don't have any brothers and sisters, I felt so desperately alone. I felt like nobody else could understand what I was going through. It felt like I was the only person on the planet that was feeling these feelings. So that was the main sort of where my headspace was at the time of writing Good Grief. I just felt like I was on my own. I was isolated. Nobody understands me. Nobody can even possibly begin to share what I'm feeling. I'm completely on my own with this whole issue. And then 5 years later, when everything started to settle again, that's when I started to write the second book. And by then I had qualified into being a solution-focused hypnotherapist. And I began seeing clients through that time, and my practice grew significantly online. And because I was seeing so many people in a therapeutic context, and I had new awareness about grief as a concept, while I was writing Planet Grief, we were also going through the pandemic. So the whole planet was grieving. That's really what I felt. And then I realised the pivotal realisation from when I was writing Good Grief to when I started writing Planet Grief is that whereby in Good Grief I thought that I was alone, no one understood. This is just a isolated experience. Through writing Planet Grief, I realised that we are all grieving together. We are all united in this thing called grief. I realised that grief wasn't just associated to death. Of course, we do associate it to death and bereavement, but it's not just associated to death. In fact, it's more associated to life, to things we experience in life, to the losses we face in life, and also to the good times that we have going on in life. So, for example, I will come back to the pandemic in a minute because that's very specific. But for example, things like normal activities like getting married, that's a good thing. It's a positive thing. It's a thing that we choose to do. But essentially, we are grieving some part of us. When we walk towards the aisle this way, towards our husband or our wife, we are walking away from some part of ourselves, some part of our identity, some part of our freedom, and in some cases we're giving up our name. So we're grieving that part of us. When we have children and babies, we're grieving at some level our independence, our agency, our freedom again. So even in the good times we can feel grief. And through the pandemic, I was seeing so many different people in my practice online. And I realised that we are all grieving something. Business loss of identity, loss of purpose, loss of kind of map of direction. Where am I? Who am I? All of these existential questions were coming up. So hopefully this really helps you realize that grief is not a personal thing, even though you feel it's personal because you feel that you're the only one going through what you're going through. But actually it's a societal thing, it's a global thing, it's a planetary thing. And that's why I wrote Planet Grief. And I'd like to share with you just a few words from my book, if I may. And I think it will help you. This is actually from a little piece of the book called The New Different. The pandemic swept into our lives and drastically changed our normal, everyday living reality. It instantly made us all stop what we were doing and either freeze in shock and panic or immediately pivot to adapt and change our whole lives. It was like a huge crack appeared in our planet, and some people were on this side and other people were on that side. Some people fell into the deep chasm. Even though on one hand the pandemic divided the human race, it also created an opportunity for people to acknowledge that change was necessary and almost inevitable. The divide, as I saw it, was phenomenal. There were the people who desperately wanted everything to go back to normal because they were unable to cope with this sudden change. There were also other people who were in better positions and were ready to embrace a new vision of the future and help all the people that were struggling. We are part of a historical moment. COVID-19, in my opinion, has been the birth of what I am calling the new different. We've heard the saying, the new normal, but surely this is an oxymoron. New and normal can't go together. I think a better way of describing it is as the new different. The new different is a way of being and thinking. It is a mindset shift that I've been teaching my clients to help them navigate change and the significant loss that they have been facing. The new different is a way of thinking. It's a method that I believe will help everybody in times of uncertainty and change. Once we can see how the stages of grief are simply like passing states, almost like clouds that appear in our lives and then disappear, we begin to understand that we are always in control, even though we don't feel like it. The phrase, "this too shall pass," this too shall pass, is a very useful one to repeat to yourself until you recognise the similar transitions for yourself. Emotional states drift in and out of our awareness, like clouds masking the sunshine. The air pressure increases and squeezes water droplets out of the clouds, and then we have rain. The rain releases the air pressure, and then the sun dries up the clouds, and we return to blue sky and sunshine. Sometimes there are no clouds, and other times there is no blue sky to be seen. But the weather is changeable, and so are our emotions. There is a poignant poem by Rumi called The Guest House, which actually I've learnt by heart. I speak it out loud to help myself. I have the poem written here in this book, but actually I think it would be really nice if I just say it to you, because it's one of these poems that really helps me when I'm feeling my emotions are spiraling out of control. I say these words to myself, so I would like to share them with you. Rumi's The Guest House. This being human is a guest house. Every morning, a new arrival. A joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they are a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture. Still, treat each guest honourably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice. Meet them all at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whatever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. I really hope this video has helped you today. Thank you for watching and staying with me till the end. Next time is my last video. It's the 8th video of the whole 8-part series of Be More Zebra. And next time we will be talking about life purpose, a big topic. So I'll see you then. For now, namaste. Have a good day, and remember, be more zebra. Bye.